Coach Nate. I'm the head coach here, so I'm going to get rolling. The only other coach with us today, Coach Craig, just so everybody meets him. He's one of our JV assistant coaches. Coach Jeff, who's our associate head coach, is actually in Philadelphia for work. Coach Travis is at work, and Coach Gino, who's our JV head coach, is at home. He's got something going on tonight, so wasn't able to make it down. Just had a good kind of get together with all of our guys. It was boisterous, if you heard all of it. They're a fun bunch. So we're going to roll through this thing pretty quick. We'll get everybody out, I promise. So the way this whole thing goes, it might not make all the sense in the world, but I promise it all comes back together. The more times you see it, the better it ends up going for you. So there's our lacrosse calendar. So that's the first thing that we're talking about. The yellow is our CHSAA sanctioned in-season part. The black is the rest of the year. It's 70 total days, and we don't get to practice on 10 of them because they're Sundays. And so it's a 60-day season from the very beginning to the very end. That's the yellow part of the calendar. Black part is what we're in right now. And so the way we break down our year, we have an off season, which we're just ending, okay? And so our off season is the summer, our fall workouts, outdoor, that DLC down in the Tech Center League. Are you good on that? So when we reference off season, that's the thing that just ended behind us. When we say preseason, we're talking indoor practices that'll start on Friday. Our Foothills Indoor League, right, versus DLC. So Foothills is over at the Schaefer Complex, think Kipling and 285. And that goes November, December. They consider that fall. And then we've got a Foothills Winter League, which is January and February. And I know sometimes that can be tough, but fall this side of New Year's, winter the other side. And then our spring season, that's the CHSAA sanctioned thing that we do. This year it's February 26th to May 4th. Are we good on that? So we are a spring sport with an all year long, school year long offering. Fair? So our off season, we just talked about those things, DLC Fall League. We sprint on Mondays and go to the weight room. We have Friday practices. There's a Y in there. It's to keep sticks in our guys' hands, to begin to develop leadership, followership skills, set a starting point for everything that we're trying to do. Okay, so we think we did a decent job with that so far. Preseason, we're going to get going. We're going to sprint on Mondays. We should be at indoor practice or finishing up indoor practice an hour or so ago. On Wednesdays, we'll have wall ball in the Ox Gym. On Thursday mornings, we'll have Friday practices with that camp that you guys just heard about. Hopefully, if you know anybody who might be interested, send them along. And then you can go through it. And then we'll play in league games down at Foothill Sports Arena. Very good? Still developing individual and basic team concepts. Allow our players to start to develop relationships, right? It is a very, very fast season. We can't be competitive the way we want to be competitive if we aren't involved in this thing in some way throughout the school year. Okay? Preseason leagues, we play on Saturdays. They're expected for everybody. You know, my thing, I don't think guys, I've been one my whole life, and I don't think guys do very well with too much free time, right? And so I don't think it's unreasonable to say, hey, come play for an hour a couple days a week. That is not, to me, like year-round. This is not 2 hours, 6 days a week, year-round that we're trying to talk guys into, right? This is, you know, go to the gym, which a lot of our guys want to lift anyway on Mondays. Come play for an hour on Wednesdays, play for an hour on Friday, play for an hour on Saturday. I think that's a reasonable amount of work. And so if you have not done that, so if your name was not listed in the gray area on that sheet when you walked in, let us know what you're up to. So if you're playing basketball, hockey, or wrestling, whatever you might be doing, that's awesome. That's a great thing. If you're not, then we'll see you on Friday and Saturday. And so those are the leagues. So then we roll over, still kind of working our way through the calendar. So we're talking about these leagues, all these things we do. We get to February, and that's sort of like the paperwork month. It's my least favorite month of the year. Okay? And so there are things that are due to the school. Okay? Not to me, not to the boosters. We good on that? Because there's going to be stuff due to us, there's going to be stuff due to the school. Spring sports registration is going to open on January 29th. It is done online through the athletics website at Green Mountain High School, not through our website that we asked you to register for. That for us is going to be due February 15th. Now I know practice doesn't start till February 26th, but not dissimilar to the line that formed here, there's a very similar line that sits in front of Kimberly Coons, who's our athletics secretary. Right? And so when we get to that point, then oh my gosh, right? My kid can't try out, my kid can't play. Why can't he play? You have to help him. Well, in the spring we have boys lacrosse and girls soccer and track and field and tennis and swimming and girls golf. right? It's by volume of players the largest season that exists at the school. And so when 450 kids suddenly need it done, I just need you to do me this little favor, and then you can't play, like that's beyond me. Just so everybody understands that, right? So if Kimberly Kuntz has not told me that your kid can play on February 26th, they cannot play. That's not like me being a jerk, it's just the truth. We're all good? So we put our date February 15th as a way to be as nice as humanly possible to Kimberly Kuntz, who does so much for us. We could never thank her except maybe try to be on time. Okay? You also must have a current sports physical that will last us through the end of your season. So if you end up on JV, May 4th will do. If you're on varsity, let's say May 20th, that's the day of our state championship game shoot. Okay? If you have one that's going to expire before those dates, you'll need to do it again anyway. Please get it done early so you don't have to miss practice in the spring. Fair enough? Okay? Booster items, we'll have a team fee that'll be due the first day of practice. We do own our uniforms, we own all of the apparel, we give people the bags, all of those things we give you. So please get stuff paid for so that we can hand things out on the first Saturday of our season. Okay? We get into March and life gets real simple and fun. We practice, it'll be here at school, JV generally at 4 o'clock on the grass. Varsity sometime between 4 and 7. We split it with girls soccer, girls lacrosse, and so it's a dance, especially with these later start times. Now we're dealing with sunset, right? Especially with daylight savings, it's going to eat into a couple weeks of our year. So that'll be what it is. Sunrise scrimmage will be the first Saturday of the season, March 2nd. Players will be busy. Circle that date. That date matters to me, right? Be at that date if you're a player. Right, so make sure your player does not have work or something that's going to take them away. Saturday, March 2nd is a very important day for us to be together. And then it's been in our emails since the start of this school year, but our spring break philosophy is we cannot give away all of those days. We can't give away 10 days in the middle of a 70-day season. And so we give away the first half. We want guys back so that we can practice on Thursday and Friday. March 21st and 22nd, those are non-optional. There's nothing different about that than the day before a state championship game to me. Okay, and so that's being a great teammate. And a lot of that for me is, I think we have a lot of people that can they're out the door Thursday night before spring break. We will have a game scheduled on the Friday before break, so you'll miss it. It's 1 of 15, right? Be there. And then we'll have people that'll come back midnight on Sunday, and their kid starts after what's supposed to be a refreshing break, and they're tired. And that's just not the point, especially towards the end of the school year. I'm doing this, and I know it might not always be popular, but for 4 years, let's have guys back. They can all hang out together. They can go ski on the weekend together. They can do whatever they want together. Good team building time, as far as I'm concerned. So that's all the rationale. Okay, so why do we do that? Hey, April practice. I know prom is on April 13th. We haven't practiced in 12 years. I don't think 13 will be the lucky one for those guys. So we'll probably be off that Saturday for our varsity guys. May is sort of the playoff month. Okay, so if February is paperwork, March is getting it going, getting through spring break. April is when our league season will start. We'll play our league games in a couple weeks in the middle of April. May will be playoffs. So May 4th, JV is over. We'll pull up some kids, right? If I'm going to pull your kid up, I will let you know, right? I think that's a great opportunity. Regular season ends on May 4th. And then we already know our off-season banquet will be Monday, May 6th, 6:30 at Applewood. Whenever JV season ends for real, so it might be earlier in the week, but it's got to be done by Saturday the 4th. We'll have exit interviews the following practice day. So if we're done on Thursday with a game, Friday they're going to turn in uniforms. We're going to talk through exit interviews with everybody, and you'll be off to summer, right? Things happen fast at the end of the school year. We want to respect that, kind of get people rolling. And that's also when uniform return will happen. Okay? Our varsity guys will more than likely still be playing after May 6th. First round of our playoffs starts on May 7th. And so generally we'll banquet, celebrate our regular season, and then the following day we'll play and hopefully win a playoff game and earn some more time. Okay? June, July really has very little to do with our program. That's sort of the primary months that you spend doing club stuff, right? And it'd be a very great thing for us to be engaged for guys where you look at your sports and you say, man, I really like these, but that's the one that I'm really into. If lacrosse is that sport for you, I think getting on a club team is a great experience. Get coached by somebody else, play with other guys, learn new things, maybe travel a little bit, maybe get to play in good weather instead of in the snow like we do. and it can be a good time. Defy, some people know Coach Mark Staper. He used to be the guy that he was an assistant coach here for 4 years. He ran True and then decided to do his own thing. Denver Elite would be DU's, club lacrosse arm. And then, so Trevor Tierney, so Coach Tierney's son, if you know that name. And then Team 91 is Matt Bachlet and their crew. So, kind of city center-ish, right? Southeast. So definitely more over Regis, kind of Centennial Airport, Cherry Creek over there. And then this is sort of more on our side of town. Okay? So, but they're all decent programs. They've all got a good spot, or they can have a good fit for people. Every one of them, there's like in 1 week in December, they're all having tryouts. For a lot of them, their tryouts are at Foothills Fieldhouse or Sports Arena where we practice. Okay, so, and where we play our games. So, easy place to find. I have information for all 3 of them. I know everybody that's involved in all of them. So, if you want to talk, let me know. Okay? Some random things that people ask. So that's sort of through the calendar. We just sort of started, we talked a little bit about what's behind us. We talked through the year, sort of calendar focused is what we just tried to do. Okay? Some random questions that come up. Holy moly, that's a lot of stuff. How's my kid supposed to play other sports? Well, again, I kind of talked about it's an hour here and it's an hour there. This is not 3 hours a night. We don't ever do 3 hours a night. Okay? Do I want you to play multiple sports? The answer is yes. Quick count yesterday, we had 37 people on the website. 23 of them played a total of about 49 sports total. Other sports, besides lacrosse, not counting lacrosse, we've got 23 of our 37 that were signed up are playing almost 50 other sports. We're all good on that? And our best players have played other sports, right? A lot of our best athletes have played 3, right? And so for all that stuff we offer, they don't show up until the beginning of the year. And then maybe they play club because they're serious about lacrosse. Maybe that's their first thing or whatever, right? We are dead serious about playing more than one sport. What I'm also dead serious about is I don't think you have an excuse if I'm going to come up here at 3:30, 3:45, school ends at 3:30. I think you can meet me 15 minutes later down to run a little bit, lift a little bit of weights, hang out with your buddies, and then go home. I don't think that's an unreasonable thing. Right? So we offer that stuff so that we have kids that have something to do. If your thing to do is to play football, soccer, tennis, golf, basketball, wrestling, hockey, whatever, go nuts. Like, that's awesome. I think it avoids burnout, right? You learn how to compete. Maybe you're really good at our sport, and maybe you're a bench player in some other sport, and learning how to be those people is a valuable learning experience, right? And you're developing more well-rounded athletic abilities. That is a very important thing for us. We're all good? Helmets. So hopefully people saw the helmet order. If you are not on the helmet order, get on the helmet order if you want one. We're playing in XRS Pro. They thankfully haven't changed it. Right? They've changed the helmet like every single year for the last 5 years. And we're year 2. So this helmet is actually $10 cheaper today than it was a year ago. Which, what in the world is cheaper today than it was a year ago? Right? So I had to double check with the guy. This is a real number. So $245 is real. It also does retail for $370. So I promise you, you can't do much better. But if you get one from a friend for free, you can do better. Otherwise, that's about as good as it gets. So we will order those on November 10th. They'll be here the next week, probably. We'll get them to people. Are all good?
Just really quick. So if you weren't playing last year or previous years and don't have a helmet, you're new, make sure your name is on this list so we know who to contact to make sure you're ordering. Who do we pay?
Yeah, that will pay the booster club. Yeah, and so we will get all the payment information out to people for all of those things. So getting on the list is step 1. Okay? You'll hear me talk about Foothills Fieldhouse, right? They're sort of named backwards. Okay, the Fieldhouse, I'll write it FF House, Fieldhouse. That's where we practice indoors, and it's our secondary backup. It is a box lacrosse looking thing. It's a hockey rink with turf on it. If this is Kipling and this is 285, it's along this frontage road, and then it's up front there. There's the adaptive softball field over here. There's some like dirt biking stuff, but it's up that frontage road. Okay. If we talk about Foothills Sports Arena, which to me, this looks like a field house. The other one looks like a sports arena, but they named it backwards. It's not my business. So FSA, so Foothills Sports Arena. So coming down Kipling, you'll turn in, you'll drive past the little bus garage. You'll be way in the back, kind of right up, butted up against the back of the prison, kind of behind Mini Putt-Putt. If you're familiar with that. So Foothills Sports Arena is down here. Foothills Field House is up here. So frontage road for the field house, Sports Arena straight off of Kipling. Hey, those are two places we spend a lot of time, so get used to those spots. And so then real quick, we've talked through, hey, what's the year look like? What's all this off-season, preseason, spring season stuff? And then, hey, how do I get a helmet? What are all these places you're talking about? Are there any questions sort of just along the lines of that stuff? If you have it, I promise other people do. All good? Cool. So, nuts and bolts as we talk about our program. So, what are you getting yourself into? Colorado High School Lacrosse is now 75 teams. So, that's about 25 more than when I started, roughly. Okay? We were a single classification until 2014, and we split into two. And so, we are 41 teams this year currently. We'll see that'll always flex up and down. Teams fall away, teams get going, but 41 is where we are. Those are schools that are enrolled 1 to 1630, 5A, so the big classification is 1631 and up, so think really big schools, the Cherry Creeks, the Arapahoes, a lot of the privates, those sorts of things, okay? We play in what's called the Foothills Conference, which is basically Jeffco plus Mullen, because they're on our side of town, smaller program. Our spring season, again, February 26th to May 4th, and then we play playoffs. We talk about the CHSAA, like school sport, wearing our real uniforms, that's it. Okay? The way we're built, Josh Schellert is our principal, our athletic director is Autumn Sereno, athletic secretary Kimberly Kuntz, the best you could ever ask for. Be nice to that human being. Okay? Do not make your problem her problem, and it becomes my problem. We're all good on that? So we really do owe her a lot. She does an incredible amount of stuff for us. Let's treat her well by being on time or early. Okay? We have players, okay? We've got coaches, and then we've got parents in a booster club. Kind of in that order. We don't need coaches if we don't have players, and then you guys don't have to worry about paying for stuff or dragging kids around if they don't want to play a sport. Okay? We have a mission statement, because I'm a nerd. And so we create a fun, competitive environment for the learning of lacrosse and character skills. I think that's important to exist so that we all know what we're trying to do. And the thought really is good people or great people make great teammates, make great athletes, can make great lacrosse players. At the end of the day, lacrosse does not matter. Period. Right? Like, we have incredibly few, the absolute best players in the state of Colorado that play at the absolute highest level, that pay the most money to travel all over the country and do all this stuff. Like, we don't have a Duke guy or a Virginia guy, right? Like, we don't have Tewaaraton guys, if you guys know what that award is, right? Like, that is not really the goal. Okay, the goal is, do we have good neighbors, right? Like, some of these kids are going to live near me, right? And I'd like them to be good people, and that's kind of our primary thing. Okay, and so if we believe in that whole it takes a village thing, this is how I get to contribute. Okay, so our goal is be perfect in our process every day. I've talked a lot through this. Like, hey, our goal is we want to, win a state championship and make a Final Four, and we want to win 15 games and whatever. It depends who we have. Like, we can't control those things. Those are outside focused things. What we can do is we can be perfect in our process. And so your kids all just got stickers that hopefully they put on their phone or on their Chromebook or something that have these 4 standards written on them. These are like my baby, right? If I'm going to enjoy doing this, it's going to involve behaviors that fall in line with that. Hey, being on time, trying as hard as you can, own what you do and move on, coach and be coached. And so that's a common language that hopefully you guys can adopt or at least appreciate how those might add value to your kid's life. We can control all of those things, and it's really a lot more fun when we have shared expectations, right? Because what puts me in a bind is when our most talented, God-given skill kid shows up late every day. And then suddenly, well, do we want to win, or do we want to live this stuff? And if we decided ahead of time this is how we're living, it makes that decision very easy. We're all good on that? Hey? And so what it does is it kind of takes this, right? I mean, could you guys hear them through the door or through the wall? Yeah. It's a mess, right? And so it can be this very easily, right? We need it to be that, right? And if suddenly one of these guys wants to turn and go that way and wander off over here, well, that person just left. The rest of us are going that way. And that's the goal, right? And so the way I sort of visualize this for myself is, hey, we've got this team, right, that lives these 4 standards, right? And we've got people in there that have the freedom to do that however suits their personality, right? Like, not everybody needs to be, please God, don't let them be all like me, right? But can we do these 4 things sort of the same way? Does that make sense? And then you can like terrible music, because most of these kids do, right? And most of them are more athletic than me or stronger than me at this point, for sure, right? A few of them have stick skills that are as good as me. I think I'm pretty good at that part still, I'm just old, right? And some of them, hey, they're handsome dudes, right? And some of them are really social, and some of them are really quiet, and some of them love to be the center of attention, and some of them would hate that to death. And that's okay. But can we show up on time? Can we work hard? Owning what you do and moving on, right, is celebrating the stuff you do well, understanding you're not going to do everything well. Sports teach failure in a very practical way more than anything else. It's public, sometimes it hurts, right? There's criticism involved, right? And I think that this is a great place to figure out, hey, that was awesome. I did a good job. I can appreciate that. Or, oh, that wasn't very fun. This wasn't a good thing, but I got to keep moving either way. Right? Because we don't sit around and talk, I don't sit around and talk about, in 8th grade, we won a tournament in upstate New York, and man, I was awesome. Right? I got to move on. Right? We're 2023 now. Hey, coaching and being coached is we have to want to get better, we have to want to help our teammates get better. Hey, and so that kind of moves us, high school kids. This is stolen from stuff I'll show your kids later this year. I think lions eat better than sheep. Fair enough? So hopefully those things, this and this, can visually look like that and that. People with me on that one? Okay? So there's a why. You'll see whys on all these slides if you want to go back and watch it. Explaining why, especially to this generation of people, is important. Right? When I was growing up, probably when you guys were growing up, an adult told you something, you said, got it, and went. These guys are like, hey, but why? Right? And so there's a why there for all of it. Be on time. You're respecting other people. I think that's a good place to start, right? When you try hard, you respect yourself. None of us was created with the intent of being average, right? Being average or below average, in my opinion, becomes a choice. I think every single one of our kids was created with that idea of, hey, respect everything you've been given and do a great job. Good? Owning what you do, move on, have fun, and be fun to be around. If you never admit that you can do something wrong, you're a pain in the ass to be around. Period. We're all good on that? Okay? And if you never have fun, if you never appreciate and enjoy the stuff we do well, you're not going to have fun. Like, that is your job. And you find this parts of this thing. It's a lot of work. There's no question. Right? But there's some fun to be had in there. Coaching and being coached is being a great teammate, whether you're giving it or receiving it. Hey? What is the standard? Best is the standard. We have no chance to be the best until we are our best. Hey, that is not outward looking. This is not, if we don't win a state championship, it's all for nothing. Right? How good can we be? That's the standard. And your best is the standard, right? Your kid's best is the standard. You either show up on time or you don't. You either work as hard as you can or you don't, right? You own your stuff or you don't, right? You're coachable or you help your teammates or you don't, right? And at the best level you can do that is what we're looking for, right? I asked our older guys this just on Monday. So competition, anybody know the origin of the word competition? You're gonna get it. It's nerve-wracking if something you have to talk, right? So, my opinion, I think we have a competition problem in general, okay? And it's one of the things that I'm a hammer on because I'm kind of over it at this point, right? And so, compete, the word compete, I'm married to an English teacher, okay? So, Latin, home, together, and then aim to seek, or basically to compete is to strive together. So when you compete, it's not about how much you hate the other guy, right? Like the teams we play against are not morally depraved. They are not bad people. When they're better than us, it's not because they're cheating. They might just be better than us. And when we beat somebody, it's not because they suck, right? In fact, a lot of our kids go up to CU, CSU, they go to Mesa, they go wherever, and they room with and live with and play lacrosse with guys they competed against who happen to be their best friends because they have something in common, right? And so for us, it is striving together. It is an inward-focused idea. We're all good on that? Okay? So those are all the philosophy things. People occasionally have questions. Where are you from? That's New York City. Hey, this is Canada, and I just happen to be lucky enough to be born on the U.S. side of Canada. Lake Placid is right there, if you guys remember the 80 games. I went to school at Ithaca, which is at the end of that Finger Lake. So I did not play lacrosse in college. I played a couple years of very casual club. Okay, so a very, very relaxed version of lacrosse. I had the very good fortune to me to play for two incredible coaches. They're like second father people. I can't really talk about them. And so that's part of why I'm here. So I think what we're doing matters. It certainly mattered in my life. I think it's a very good learning experience. And I love to compete in the sense of striving together. All good on that? I've won a bunch of games here. I honestly don't care that much about winning games. Right? It feels good, right? And you guys complain at me less. But at the end of the day, like, it really is, like, we've got good kids. The kids have always been fun to be around, regardless, right? That's why I like doing this. Okay? You're going to start to see ideas circle back because I'm not that creative, right? What are my responsibilities? To start and end on time, right? To have a plan for practices, games, and the direction of the program. To understand that I will do things right and I'll do a bunch of things wrong and I'm going to own those things and move on. Okay? Coaching to teach, right? I'm not a club guy. It's just like I don't wake up in bed thinking, man, if I charge these people $2,000, I probably only have to work, get 100 kids, $2,000, do some math. I don't need to work. I just hang out in the summer. Like, that's never been my deal, right? I work full time at St. Anthony Hospital. I run an outpatient therapy clinic, so I'm a physical therapist by trade. And then I come up here in all my spare time and do stuff. Like, this is like the primary, besides being a husband and working, this is what I do. I have a closet full of black, gold, gray, and white, right? And I just love doing it, right? But I enjoy it as education-based athletics, right? And so seeking feedback and learning experiences, those are my responsibilities. And the program will come first. So you guys have teenage children, right? That's why you're here. I've been here, my kid is turning 13. Right? This program for me turns 13 this year. Right? So I've been here since our seniors were in kindergarten. I've been here since your 9th graders were 2. Right? And so I was bad. I was a 2-year-old when I got here. Right? And I can keep getting better because your kid's not perfect either, right? Your 9th grader. But we're getting better together. Okay? My expectations, again, are the standards. Right? If you get in my bad spot, it's because you don't value these things or you try to work your way around those things. Okay? Things your kids will hear. You're allowed to make mistakes, full attention, full effort. Be where your feet are. Hey, that is very literal. I'm a literal human. So if you are wearing cleats, you don't need a phone. If you're in street clothes, have your phone. Go nuts. If we're playing lacrosse, let's be at lacrosse. If you're at school, be at school. I try very hard not to bother people outside of our time. Okay? And so that's important to me that we teach kids to be where they are. I think it's a very distractible thing going on right now. Okay? Someday and one day starts today. And so what drives me nuts is, man, someday I'm gonna be the man. And if I can start, I'm gonna start working hard. I'm gonna start attacking. That's when I'm gonna get my stuff going. Oh, I got the starting goalie job. I'm gonna go get some extra shots now. Like, that someday, one day starts now. And there's no promise it's coming, right? But there's a guarantee it's not until you do the work. Okay? And then not for school, but for life we learn. Again, really, what do you remember from 11th grade science? We've got a chemist in the crowd, probably a bunch. But for the rest of us, you're learning how to learn, you're learning how to work hard, you're learning how to relate to people. That's why we're here. Okay? Return to play things, concussions, we did change. So athletic trainers used to belong to Panorama. They kind of ran the thing. We now belong to children. So it's the same athletic trainer, Catherine Ortiz, but her boss is now our Children's Hospital. And so they have a slightly different return to play protocol. It's actually, instead of a 5-day return to play, it's 6 to 7-day return to play. Okay? Everything about that world runs through them. So if you have something that we suspect is a concussion, we're concerned about it, it's going to go to the school nurse, it's going to go to the athletic trainer. They're going to roll you through that process, especially after you get a doctor's note from your physician, and then we're off going. Does that make sense? So we will err on the side of caution. So any player who sustains a concussion will be held out from practices and games. These things are managed by our athletic trainer. Okay? Academic policy, the chief function of the body is to carry the brain around. That is why we are here. Student first, athlete second, right? We are a no-F program. We were not. So Jeffco is not a no-F district, right? It's no more than one F is their rule. Our seniors have made it no Fs for so long, we've adopted that. So this is our second year of being no Fs. If you have Fs, you do not play. Now, as parents, if you have a kid where that's appropriate, cool. If you have a kid where, hey, they want to go to Mines or they want to go to Harvard or whatever, if your kid does well in school and what's appropriate to them is, hey, no Ds or no Cs or whatever you want it to be as a family, you have my absolute support. I would just ask that you tell me that before we get on the bus, right? And so sometimes it's, hey, now I'm mad at them, or they're not doing something, so I'm going to use their grades aren't good enough. I think sit down, have a conversation about that stuff, and then be able to tell me what it is, just so I can look for it. Okay, part of the player profile that we ask people to fill out gives me their student number. I'll have their grades starting Friday. And I'll keep track of them, and I'll be getting a hold of them, and I'll be another voice in your ear so you guys don't have to be the only one. But we're going to make sure we stay ahead of the grades if we can. Okay? We sort of instituted last year the squeeze, right? So it's up or out is the way we're going. So if you have an F on the first day of the season, which is February 26th, you don't join us until you have no Fs. Okay? If we get through Sunrise Scrimmage, which is the first Saturday of the year, and you still can't get your way to no Fs, take the spring off, get your grades right, we'll see you next year. We good? Team selection, when do we set that stuff up? February 26th, 7th, and 8th, Monday through Wednesday, right? I promise you that is when we actually set teams. I know we do a lot of stuff, but February 26th, 7th, and 8th is when we do it. My general mindset, wide open for everybody. JV if you're in 9th and 10th, varsity if you're in 11th and 12th, and then we start shuffling people around. So that's where you start. Some of our guys, I mean, dang it, some of them are talented kids. I can't leave some of these 10th graders on JV. They've got to come help us win games on varsity. And some of these 11th and 12th graders, maybe they're new to the sport or athletics just aren't really their like varsity thing. Let's have a great experience and put you on JV. Okay? It's never malicious, I promise that. So I'm asking for your trust, right? It's a trust me moment there. And if you really struggle with that, tell me what team you want them on and I'll tell you how much they will or won't play. They will have the best experience on the team that I put them on. I promise you that. We good? Practice, it is, and I'm dead serious, it is the most important thing you do in the spring. Right? So I go to work early, I go back to work after practice. My whole life revolves around lacrosse for 10 weeks a year. Okay? And so I am dead serious. Like, this isn't, well, coach, I want to do it. It sounds like a great time. I just have work on Tuesdays and Fridays and Saturdays. Cool. Go work. Right? You're in with us or you're not, is the deal. Right? So you're wrapped up in that arrow, that standards arrow. You cannot be on time if you don't show up. We're all good? So plan to be busy Monday through Friday, 4 to 7 for everybody. Saturday, 9 to 11, and that's just to account for games and things that change, right? Like, the weather will blow up our schedule. We have a rough idea, but that game that was supposed to be Wednesday will become Thursday because there's 2 feet of snow. And if suddenly you're like, well, my kid has work, or I've got this other stuff going on, right? Just plan to be with us for 10 weeks. Hey, we'll share all that stuff on Remind, just so everyone's clear. Remind is not for you all. Hey, it is for the kids. Our seniors run a group Remind. It's their way to communicate with one another. I monitor it. I've never sent anything on it. You will never miss anything from me on Remind. Do not try to get on Remind with a bunch of high school kids. It can be a weird place. We're all good? Hey, so just so you know, text, email, I will send stuff. So you should have, if you were already registered early, you got one from me. If you didn't get it, if it went to your email but not to your text, get on the website and figure out what numbers are in there. Okay, so I do not hand, text, or email anybody. It's all through the website. Okay? Practice is important because that's really when it's all done. Okay? Sunrise Scrimmage we talked about, but I want to bring that back in front of you. Do not have your kid busy on March 2nd. Okay, all day long we'll be busy. That's like camp in a day. Right? Your kids don't know it yet, but 4 years ago we brought in a guy that got them all to break dance. We're going to do it again. Right? If we can find somebody that can teach these kids to break dance, we'll do it. It's hilarious video. Right? And then game schedules. Do not take a picture of this. But we're in year 2 of a 2-year cycle. So 23-24, we're in that year. We have everything confirmed except for Jefferson Academy, Rangeview, and Mountain Range. Okay? Every other game from this has been put back. The challenge is Dawson went away because they don't have They dropped. They're going to be JV only this year. At the time that we got going, every team we played had made the playoffs. And Dakota Ridge Final Four, Evergreen Final Four. We played Erie also in the Final Four. The only team we didn't play in the Final Four was Cheyenne Mountain. So it is a difficult schedule on purpose. I think it gives us an opportunity to do good things. All these games are flipped home and away. That's why I'm asking you not to look at them, because this is last year that's getting finished. Where are we at? Grand Junction, that'd be one to know. So around that weekend, the first weekend of April, we are going to Grand Junction with our team. So everybody's aware of that. Still a work in progress. We have dress codes. I'm not hardcore about these because it's something I can give the seniors that truly I don't care that much about. But occasionally we make them go shirt, tie, khaki, dress pants to the location of the game and away. Shooter shirts, which we're going to give all the kids. We'll wear white for home stuff, black for away stuff otherwise. This one I do care about. So for practice, for the stuff that we do, with the exception of shoes, right? Because shoes are expensive. But socks, shorts, shirts, any other thing on your body, black, gold, white, gray. Be dressed in our stuff. Okay? And so we'll have guys go no shirt underneath all their equipment if they come in pink or purple or orange or whatever. Right? So black, gold, white, and gray, that does matter to me. Okay? Buses, there are no drivers. Right? So we have plenty of buses, we don't have drivers. So we will not take any buses for varsity things at Trailblazer or NAC. Select away games will go. So when we go to Grand Junction, we're not throwing kids on I-70, right? So we're going to take a bus for that one. JV-wise, nothing for home games. And again, that used to be we bust everywhere with our JV guys because I know it's hard to move young people around. You can't drive. We got into some carpooling necessity things last year, and so we'll continue to do that. We try to make those like Lakewood, Golden, Wheat Ridge, stuff close. For the further away ones, we'll do everything we can to get guys on the bus. Okay? That is driven by the district. That has nothing to do with our wants and needs. So I think getting parents, hey, if you've got afternoon availability, you can pick up a few kids and get some guys down. I think that helps a lot. It's a good reason to communicate with each other. If we do ever take a bus, we are taking the bus back as well. Okay? And that's an important team time thing. It's also an important accountability thing as far as having kids go and then they take off and go somewhere else and we don't know what happens. If anything terrible happens, I'm responsible for your kid till he gets back here. We're all good? Senior Leadership Project. This is a thing you will hear about. So we've done it every year I've been here with the exception of COVID. And what it's about is it's our seniors choose, plan, execute a project that benefits our area somehow, right? Our world. And all of our players are involved in it. Okay? And so we've been to the Action Center a couple of times. We went and we cleaned up Bear Creek Lake Park last year. Family Tree is a women's and children's shelter in Denver that we've been to. Feeding people. Ronald McDonald House, again, doing meals. It gives our seniors an opportunity to lead outside of sports, right? Player-led teams, all that stuff. It's like, I'm a broken record, but it's what it's about. Okay? And so that's a very actionable thing. For the senior parents in the room, if one of you would lend a house to that project, I would appreciate it. And that's basically all I want, because I want the kids to figure it out. They are perfectly capable of calling someone, of picking something, of buying food at a grocery store and helping carpool kids down to execute this thing. It generally happens at the early part of the year. So really early season or even maybe a little preseason we get started. We will do some team dinners. I think you guys probably talked about team dinners. Perfect. End of season, JV at the end of the final home game, or final game period, sorry. Exit interviews, uniform return the day after. Banquet again, May 6th. It's a Monday, 6:30, Applewood Golf Course. Be there, be square. Okay? And so let's talk roles. So everybody has a job to do. Right? It is not my job to parent your kid. I'm not going to do that. That would feel insulting to me, right? Not your job to coach your kid either. Not our kids' jobs to parent themselves or coach me. We're all good? So players prepare and perform, right? They have so little stuff that's theirs. But their athletic ability, their academic ability, those things are theirs. So let's let them own those things. Prepare and perform. Coaches teach and demand. I can't just scream at kids. We have to teach them something and then hold them accountable to that. Parents love and support. It is a really hard job. Right? What we ask you guys to do is a really hard job. Right? So we're at about 45, I think is what we had next door. We'll see if maybe it's 40, 10 kids get to start on varsity. So 30 of your kids will not start on varsity. But I want you to love and support your kid and our program and our kid, and understand that you need to support the guy that's starting in front of your kid. And that's really, really hard to do. And I appreciate that that's really hard to do, but it is the ask. Okay? You are incredibly important, and you are still, I know they might not tell you how important you are to them every day. You are incredibly important to them. Okay? They vote like you, they believe the things that you believe, they act a lot like you guys. You do matter to them. So in your love and support, if you can cheer for our team without using verbs, don't tell them what to do, just say, yay, yes, great job, woohoo, right? It can be whatever you want it to be, but you don't have to tell a kid to pass or to shoot or to get off the field, right? Let's just support our kids, all of them. Okay? Post-game, stolen from Greg Dale, who was a sports psychologist at Duke, who sadly died of cancer. He actually came to Jeffco like 6-7 years ago, talked to all the athletics people at Jeffco over at Resurrection Christian. And his thing was, he had young sons that played sports, and he would go home and say, I love watching you compete with your friends. And I think that's a very powerful thing, right? Because, some of us grew up in intense sports environments, right? Like those things can happen, and you just want it so bad for them. And then you want to know, why did you make that pass? Or why did you do that? Or why didn't you do that? Or those things. Your kid does not want the interview. I promise you. On the drive home, or when they get home, they do not want the interview. Okay? So I can be that guy when it matters, like the next day. I don't even do that to them after games. Right? And I promise you they don't want it from you. But if you love, your kid will be out of your house. I was talking to some parents, been, 6, 5, now maybe 4 years. If you're a senior parent, like this thing goes quickly. And all of a sudden they're not at home. And maybe there's some other part of Colorado, or you've got a job and you can't watch them compete with their friends. And that's tough. So you have a window to be able to watch your kid compete with their friends where it's close to home, right? And so love that part of the experience, right? I think modeling excellent character skills, right? There's some great videos. If you type into YouTube, ref you suck, and then a sport, you can find a video of NBA, NHL, NFL, Major League Baseball, people yelling, ref you suck. It's like the easiest search in the world. And so then we say, well, sports build character, right? Well, if that is true, then let's make sure we're good at that here. So officials especially. My father was a basketball official for a dozen years after I left home. I do not think that referees are the worst human beings on the planet. I don't, right? What is 63, 67, and 46, 16? Anybody have a guess? Yeah, that's what we pay officials in the state of Colorado. You work a varsity game, you make $63.67. It takes roughly 3 hours. I will not get out of bed for that. I'm not going anywhere for $63.67. To be fair, I get paid a lot less than that to coach, but I love this. No one yells at me daily, right? And I think our uniform's cool, right? That's what you get for a JV game. And it takes about the same amount of time. It probably takes them 2-ish hours, a little over 2 hours, okay? So that's what we're paying these people, okay? And what my promise to you all is I am a high school level lacrosse coach. I am not better than that. I'm not supposed to be, I'm not a D1 guy that's just down here doing charity. This is as good as I am. This is where I'm supposed to be, okay? Your kid is a high school level athlete. And our officials are high school level officials. We don't get, the guys doing the Final Four for college are not coming to Lakewood, Colorado to Trailblazer to do a game. So you're going to see some guys that can't run very well. You're going to see some guys that maybe don't know the rules very well. But most of our kids don't know the rules very well either. Okay? So please, because this, so here's the deal. We'll start a year with about 65 officials. We have 75 teams. It takes 2 to 3 officials to do a game. Not all games get covered. If you're going to pick a game, if they throw out a list, go to whatever game you want, have a great time. What games do officials go to? The ones where they don't get freaking screamed at. Right? There's scary stuff that happens in their world. Like they have to walk past all of you to get to their car out here on our field. And if you're waiting for them on the hill, And I mean, they might be 22 years old, and just like, yeah, $23 an hour, sign me up for that. That seems pretty good, right? Like, and then all of a sudden they're getting yelled at by a gang of parents, like, nah. Hey, the last time I'm going to Green Mountain, and they share that information. That is 65 people. Doesn't take long to find out, like, that's a rowdy bunch of people. I don't want anything to do with that. So unless you want Coach Travis, who just walked in, doing our games, he's done them before. We'll be nice to the officials. Hey, encourage your kid to own the lacrosse skills, their character skills. Please believe that those things can be learned and that best is the standard. Sometimes I hold kids accountable to stuff. They come home pissed off, and it's easy to agree with them. Like, yeah, you know, coach is just kind of a jerk sometimes. At the end of the day, they don't love everything you guys do either, right? But we are in service to the 30-year-old version of them. I don't really care what the 15-year-old thinks. I was a 15-year-old boy. Lots of stuff I thought at 15 I don't think is that cool anymore, right? And so we'll serve the 30-year-olds so they come back and they go, hey, coach, like I was pretty good. A lot of our oldest kids are the ones that talk to me the most, and that's rewarding, right? So it's okay for them to be that now. Let's serve their best, right? And then provide for, participate in what you can. Obviously, encourage your kid, hey, like these off-season, preseason things, get them out of your house, get them going, right? They don't need to be at home. Video games aren't that much fun. Fundraising, if you guys can help there, Booster Club functions. I think find something you can do. Don't get through this year without helping us somehow. I use the idea of like, if rather than ask for volunteers this way, right, like raise your hand if you'll help, I think we should just go, everybody put your hand in the air and you can put it down once you've done something. Right, like go to that, like what's your thing? Get it over with, do it, and you're done. Does that make sense? Cool. Tonight, so are you registered for spring 2024 on the website? If you are not, you will never hear from me again. So if you want out, that's the easiest way. Don't be signed up. Okay? Have you completed everything? Week minus 17 email. Those action things will be coming in week minus 16. Hopefully people have kind of gotten the message on the week numbers. They count down to 0. Right? So you guys have, I think, our sheets of paper in front of you. You have every time and place and thing to do and where to be. It's all there for you. So we're going to go minus 17 to 16, 15, 14, all the way to 0. That will be the week before season. Week 1, it's for real. Okay? Do you need to be on the helmet order? Please get your name on there for us. And then I want to answer questions. But real quick, if you've never been in touch with me, text me or email me. It's coming here. Text or email me that tonight. Okay? And if you want to just say in there, hey, I belong to so-and-so, I need the information so I can get on the website, so I can fill out the form, so I can whatever, just ask me for those things in writing, and I'll get them back to you later tonight or tomorrow. Okay? So still, though, I guess, just to talk through this sheet, this is, I think, maybe the only thing that's kept me from getting fired. Okay? So everything by the month on the first page. Okay? Everything about how our team functions on the second page. Money things at the bottom. A reminder that there is a Jeffco fee as well. That's not to us. And then we start. And so if you want to know what we're doing, it's all written down from now until the banquet, until the state championship game. Okay? So week minus 17 down to week 0. And then on the back side is our actual season. Pretty good? You'll get 1 email a week from me, barring special events and weather. I get a lot of email too. So I appreciate and I understand that. My ask back to you all is, it does kill my soul to have to ask for people to get on websites 8 times. Is that fair? So I think a thing people like that we do is I don't email you, I will not email you 5 times a week. You're going to get 1 email on Sundays or maybe Monday mornings. And that will be the only time I reach out to you in the week. But if there's stuff to do in there, please just do it and we can move on. We're all good? Questions? Anybody here brand new to the sport of lacrosse? Awesome. Helmet, shoulder pads, elbow pads, gloves, a cup. By rule, a cup. Hey, it's good for all the moms. Moms want grandkids, right? And so it was not a rule. It was optional. It is now by rule. You have to wear a cup just like you have to wear a mouth guard. I do not stock mouth guards. I have no need for a mouth guard. We good on that? So throw an extra $5 one in your kid's bag. Right? I will never have a mouth guard for your son if he loses or forgets his. If he doesn't have one, he does not play. Okay, so mouth guards, then obviously a lacrosse stick. There's two types of them, short ones and long ones. If you're brand new to the sport, it's a short one. I'm not going to give a brand new kid a really long stick to try and figure out. Okay, so it'll be a short stick for this year, for sure. If you can afford 2 sticks, it's good because we play in the cold and we whack each other with them, so they do break. Okay? And so better to have that so you don't miss. And then, yeah, so it's becoming less important, but yeah, so with pointing at your chest, so there came out a new rule. You had to wear a NOXI certified set of shoulder pads. So you cannot use gear that's like 4 years old or older unless it has a little heart sticker. It's for commotio cordis, which is when an object strikes your heart or your chest really hard in the middle of a beat and you can collapse. And it is possible. I was at Ithaca College. Across the road is Cornell. A player dropped dead on the field with a physician and an athletic trainer on the field. Right? So that can happen. I was also coaching an 8th grade team, which was actually the 8th graders that became the high schoolers that drew me here. And we had a kid go down and he survived, which was awesome. He was a miracle. So, but it is possible. It is nothing in the world to be stressed out about because we get thousands and thousands of hours of activity without it ever happening. But it is possible, so there's this sort of a big Iron Man looking thing. It's kind of the way I look at it. Okay, so your chest protector has to be NOXI certified. Anything else? So that covers the gear. Any other questions? So the thing I think is really important for me, guys, so when it's, we're early, which is good, try and be on time. If you can, stop up here and say hello to me. It's always a bummer when I meet parents while they're going to the handshake line on senior night. That's unfortunate to me. Okay, so come say hello, I'm not scary. And also, maybe if you're bored, turn around and say hello to another parent that's here that you don't actually already know. Okay, so a little bit of help there is not a terrible thing either. We're all good?
Everyone else?
Yep.
Is there one of those nice cushy black chairs? If you wouldn't mind grabbing one and hanging it on the rack out here since all those lacrosse boys left. That'd be helpful. That way we can get back to the gym.
Cool. All right, appreciate you all. We'll see you in May.